This book is not philosophical, but practical. This a practical guide, not a treatise on theories. Her goal is men and women who need it. Most money wants to get rich first and then philosophize. It's for those who want results, and they do ready to draw scientific conclusions as such, the foundations of their actions, without going into all the details and the logic that made it possible to reach these conclusions. The reader is expected to accept the basic principles with complete confidence, just as he will follow the principles regarding the electrical labor law if it is drafted by Marconi or Edison. Acceptance of principles. Confidently, the basics will be correct and act in accordance with these principles without fear or hesitation. Everyone. The man or woman who does this will become rich, certainty, because the science applied here is an accurate science. Failure is impossible. In writing this book, I have sacrificed everything for clarity and simplicity of style, so that everyone understands it. The detailed business plan in this work is extracted from conclusions of philosophy. It has been thoroughly tested. 1. The right to be rich. All one can say in praise of poverty, the truth is that it is not. It is not possible to live a full life or successful without being rich. No one can live up to his level higher in talent or character without having a lot of money, because for deploy your character or develop your character talent, we have to use a lot of things. We cannot use it without money get rid of. Man develops his mind, personality, and body using things, and society is organized in this way. So we must have the money to use these things. For this reason, the foundation of all progress must be wealth science. The goal of all life is development. Everything that lives has an inalienable right, all the development that he is capable of to reach. It means the human right to life. The right to use it free of charge and without restrict everything possible be necessary for its development, mental, personal, and physical. In other words, the right to life means the right to be rich. In this book, I will not talk about wealth in a metaphorical way. To be really rich, it does not mean contentment or contentment little. No one should settle a little if he could use more or enjoy more. The purpose of nature is progress and development in life, and everyone should get everything they can contributing to strength and elegance, the beauty and richness of life. Enough, less guilty. The person who has everything he owns. She wants to live the full life she has. The one who is able is rich, and the one who does not have it, it can't be too much money, whatever she wants. Life was like that. It evolved and became very complex. Even more normal requires a large amount of wealth to live this way, just getting close to being full. Everyone wants, of course, become everything she is capable of, had become. This desire to realize one's abilities, fitra, is inherent in human nature. We can't help it. The desire to be all that we can be. Success in your life means becoming who you want to be. You can only become what you are. You want to be so by using things, and you can't have freedom. Only use these things if you are adequate rich people to pay them. Understanding science. Therefore, wealth is most important. All knowledge. There is nothing wrong with wanting to become rich. The desire for wealth is actually the desire for it. Life is richer, fuller, and more abundant. This desire is praiseworthy. The person who he does not wish to live more abundantly, unnatural, and also undesirable. Not having enough money to have everything you want is unnatural. There are 3 reasons we live for. We live for the body, we live for its mind, we live for the soul. None of these motives are neither better nor holier than the others. All 3 are the same thing desirable, and not any of the 3 bodies, mind or soul, cannot live fully then. One of the other 2 dwindles in his life or in his expression. It is not correct. It is no noble to live only for the soul's sake, denial of mind and body. This is also the case. It is not right to live only for reason's sake, denial of body and soul. We all know the consequences, degrading to live only for the body and to deny the mind and the soul, and see, although real life involves expression, the completion of all that man is capable of presentation across body, mind, and spirit. Whatever one may claim, no one is. He could be truly happy or satisfied without his body fully thriving in all its functions, and without, this also applies to his mind-spirit. Whenever there is no possibility, express, or function is not worker, there is an unsatisfied desire. Desire is the possibility that you seek self-expression, or the career you seek. Get a job. A person cannot live fully his body without good food, comfortable clothing, warm shelter, and without being exempt from overwork. Rest and relaxation are also essential his physical life. We cannot live a full mental life without books or time to study them, without possibility of travel and monitoring, or without it, intellectual company. For a complete mental life of man, there must be intellectual entertainment, and he should surround himself with all things artistic, and the beauty that she is able to use and to estimate. For a complete spiritual life for man, it must be love. Poverty is limiting the full expression of love. The greatest happiness is found in action. Give to those you love. He finds love, the most natural and the most spontaneity in the gift. The individual who nothing that can be offered can replace it, spouse or parent, citizen or object humans. It is in the use of material things that a person finds satisfaction in his life, the body, develops his mind, and spreads his energy spirit. Therefore, it is extremely important so that everyone can become rich. It's right to want to be rich. If you're a man or a woman normal, you can't help it. It is absolutely correct to grant great interest in science wealth because it is nobler and more noble necessary for knowledge. If you neglect this study, you are abandoning your duty toward yourself, toward God, and toward humanity. Because you can't give it back, God and humanity are a greater service. Make the most of yourself. There is the science of wealth, and it is an exact science like algebra or arithmetic. There are laws for that control the acquisition process riches, and for anyone he will have studied and applied these laws. This no one will get rich with certainty athlete. Possession of money and goods resulting from doing work in a certain way, and that who work in this particular way, intentionally or by chance, getting rich. While those who don't work this way to remain poor, even if they are hard-working and very capable. It is a natural law that causes the same causes produces the same effects. That's why any man or woman learning to work in this way, he will unerringly enrich himself. The previous statement is correct. It is shown in the following notes. Wealth is not a matter of the environment, because if that were the case for all people, from the same neighborhood, he will become richer. The citizens of the city will be rich in a while, that others in other cities would be all the poor or the entire population of the country. You will roll a lot in a while. Those who belong to a neighboring country will live in poverty. But everywhere we see, the rich and the wealthy poor people living side by side, at the same time environment, often involved in the same activity. For two people living in the same area and practicing the same activity, after which the person becomes rich, and if the other remains poor, this indicates that enrichment is not particularly environment issue. Some environments may be more so favorable than others, but when, of two, the neighbors do the same thing, one becomes rich while the other fails, this it appears that wealth is the result a certain way at work. In addition to the ability to run a specific, the style is not only due to talent, because many talented people are still present poor while others are much less talented, become rich. By studying the people who became wealthy, we discover that they are rather, from all views, and they have no talents or capabilities above middle. It is clear that they do not become, it is not rich because of talents or abilities they have, and what others do not have, but because it happens they work in a certain way. Enrichment does not arise from the truth to save or be careful. A lot of people are very economical who are poor, while often the sowing people be rich. It is not a matter of doing things either that others fail to do, because two people with the same activity do often exactly the same thing, and one he becomes rich, while the other remains poor or go bankrupt. From all this, we must extract the result. The enrichment is due to a certain how to operate. If the enrichment is due how to work, and if the same reasons are always produce the same effects, therefore any man or woman can work. In this way it can be enriched, and the whole topic it is included in the field of careful science. The question that arises if this road is to work is not difficult to just one. The minority can follow it. Like us, we have seen it before. It cannot be true regarding natural abilities. Talented people become rich, clumsy riches. People become intellectually brilliant. Really rich and stupid, people become rich. People are in great shape. Materialism becomes rich and suffers. Sick people get rich. A certain ability to think and understand. It is necessary, of course, but as far as natural abilities are concerned, that's it. A man or woman who has enough goodness. The meaning of reading and understanding these words can definitely get rich. We have already seen that it is not environmental issue. Detect location arithmetic, of course. We will not go to Hart Sahara hopes to get good deals. Wealth means the need to own property, interacting with people and being there where you meet people to hang out with related. If these people are so inclined, development of exchanges of this type you want, everything is better. But this, almost all the influence the environment has. If anyone in your city can, you can get rich too. If someone in your state can get rich, you can too. Nor is it a matter of choice of genre, business or profession. People get rich in all kinds of affairs and professions, while their neighbors remain poor in the same activity. It is true that you will be better off. In the work you love and who you are approves, and if you have some talent well developed, you will be able to manage it. Better at what it takes. Practice these talents. Moreover, you will get better. Leads to adaptive activity. Where to do it? A glacier. It will come out better in a hot climate than in Greenland. There will be salmon fisheries. More success in the Northwest than in Florida, where there are no salmon. Aside from these general limitations, your enrichment does not depend on the company. Where do you work but your vocational training to work in a certain way? If you are now in business, then you don't get rich, even if someone else, where you are, becomes richer. In the same type of cases, it simply is, because you don't work the same way as this other person. No one is prevented from becoming rich. Lack of capital. True to growth, it becomes easier and faster with of capital. But who owns the capital? He's already rich and doesn't need to be. Ask how to become one. It doesn't matter. How poor are you? If you are, start working in a certain way. You will begin to enrich yourself and gain of capital. Obtaining capital part of the way. To get rich, and it is part of the result that always follows the reality of working in a certain way. You can be the poorest person from the continent with debtors on their heads. You may not have friends, no impact, no resources, but if you start working this way, you must start infallibly. Enrichment, because the same reasons are necessary, produces the same effects. If you don't have it, of capital, you can get some. If you are, they're not in the right activity. You enter to the right activity. If you are in the wrong place, you can change it. You can do this by starting in your current activity and where you are. It is to work in a certain way, and that it always leads to success. You have to start living in harmony with the laws who rule the universe. No one stays poor because other people monopolize the wealth. He surrounded him with a barrier. You may be denied entry. Some activities, but other channels open to you. At different periods, the current opportunities are created in different ways. Directions according to everyone's needs, according to the special situation of social development receipt. There are a lot of opportunities for someone who will go with the flow instead of trying to swim against the current. Thus, workers, as individuals or as a class, they are not deprived of opportunities. Workers are not crushed. They are not wronged by their masters through trust funds and large capital. As that class, they are where they are because they don't work a certain way. The working class can become the class manager as much as its members. It will start working this way to be sure. The law of wealth is the same for them and for everyone. This is an illusion. You must know it, but they will continue to do so. Stay where they are as long as they continue to act as they act. On the other hand, the individual worker is not obligated to do so. Let yourself be crushed by the ignorance of your class. In relation to these laws, he can go with the flow opportunities and enrich yourself. This work goes show him how. No one stays poor because inadequate available wealth it has more than enough for everyone. We can build a big palace like the Capitol in Washington for every family. On the ground, using only materials sourced from the United States only, and under intensive cultivation, this country could produce enough wool, cotton, linen, and silk to dress everyone in the world in a more refined manner than Solomon in all its glory, as well as enough food to feed everyone royally. The visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the supply invisible is truly inexhaustible. Everything you see on earth is made of an original substance from which come all things. New forms are constantly produced, and old forms dissolve, but they are all forms taken by a single thing. There is no limit to supply of this original substance, the substance without form. The universe is made of this substance, but not everything was used for build the universe. The spaces in, to, through, and between the forms of the universe visible are penetrated and filled by the substance original, the formless substance, the raw material of all things. He could to do 10,000 times what has already been done, and even then we would not have exhausted supply of material universal first. Therefore, no one is poor because nature would be poor, or because that reserves would be insufficient. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will not stop never. The original substance is alive, endowed with creative energy, and constantly produces more shapes. When the reserves of construction materials will be exhausted, new ones will be created. When the ground will be exhausted and will no longer be able to provide food or clothing fibers, it will be renovated, or new floors will be added training. When it's all gold and silver, it was extracted from the mine, if humanity. It is still at the level of social development, which requires gold and silver. New reserves of the substance will be produced without form. This article responds, needs of humanity. She won't let him do that, a world without something good. This applies to all of humanity. As a group, the species still exists, provided in abundance. If individuals poor people, it is because they do not follow. It is not a particular way the work is made. The wealthy individual. Formless matter is intelligent. It is thinking material. She. Alive and constantly pushing for more from life. The natural and inherent drive for life. It is the pursuit of living more, nature. Intelligence is developing, and consciousness seeks to expand its boundaries and to find a more complete expression. Universe forms are created by matter. Living without form takes forms to express themselves more fully. The universe is a great living existence. It is always directed by nature toward longer life and better operation complete. Nature was created for progress. Life. Its reason for existence is to increase life. Because of this, anything has potential. To sustain life, it is abundantly provided. There can be no shortage unless God does not contradict himself and cancel himself. He works by himself. You are not poor due to lack of supply in wealth. It is a fact that I'll explain a little further. Resources. Formless matter found in the disposition of the man or woman who you will act and think a certain way. Thought is the only powerful force produce tangible wealth. Formless matter. There, the raw material from which they are all made. Things are matter that thinks, and think about the form in this article, produces a shape. Original material grows accordingly. Ideas. Any form or process you complete. Seeing in nature is appearance, visible to thought in the original material. When you think of matter without form, formally it takes this form. When she thinks of a movement and she makes that movement. This is how things used to be, creature. We live in the world of thought, which is part of the world of thought. Thought of the mobile universe spread across. Matter has no form and it evolves. After this reflection, it took the form of the planetary system maintains this shape. The material of thought takes shape from his idea and moves according to his idea. Return to the idea of a circulation system. Suns and planets, they take shape. These celestial bodies move them accordingly an idea. Think about the shape of the tree. Slow-growing mahogany. It develops accordingly and produces the tree, although pods may be necessary to accomplish this task. In his creations, formless matter seems to move. The following lines I created earlier. In other words, the idea of mahogany does not cause instant formation. A bicentennial tree, but it has begun. The forces which will produce the tree according to predefined growth rules. Any form of thought by means of thinking matter. However, this creates the form, but always, or at least generally, according to established lines of growth and action. The thought of a house having a certain architecture, if she was impressed in substance without form, would not cause the instant appearance of the house, but would push creative energies, working already in trades and commerce, in the routes required to ensure construction quickly from home. And if it didn't exist, no channels through which creative energy could express itself, then the house would be directly formed from the substance original, without waiting for the slow process of organic and inorganic world. No thought of form can be impressed into the original substance without causing the creation of the shape. A person is a focus of thought and can create thought. Any form that person who creates with his hands must first exist in his thought. We cannot form something before having thought this thing. Until today, humanity has entirely limited his efforts to the work of his hands, applying manual labor to the world of forms and seeking to change or modify shapes pre-existing. Humanity has never thought to try to bring about the creation of new forms by impressing a thought in formless substance. When a person has the idea of a shape, it takes materials in the forms of nature and creates an image of the form that she has in her mind. People don't have, so far, made little or no effort to cooperate with formless intelligence, to work with the Father. The individual did not consider that he could do what he sees the Father do it. An individual transforms and modifies existing forms through his work manual, and no one lent any attention to the question of the production of things from formless substance by communicating his thoughts to him. We propose to prove that he can to prove that any man or woman can do it, and show how. To begin, we must establish 3 fundamental propositions. First, we affirm that there exists a substance original without form from which come all things. All the many apparent elements are only different presentations of a single element. All the many organic forms and not organics found in nature are not that different forms coming from the same substance. And this substance thinks. A thought in it produces the thought form. Their thought, in the thinking substance, produces shapes. A human being is a home of thinking, capable of original ideas. If an individual can communicate his thoughts to the original thinking substance, it can cause the creation or training of that to which he think. In summary, there exists a thinking substance from which all things came from and which, in its original state, saturates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing represented by this thought. A person can represent things in his thoughts and, by impressing his thought in substance without form, can cause the creation of what she is thinking about. One might wonder if I can prove these assertions, and, without going into details, I answer that I can do it by logic and through experience. By reasoning from the effect to the cause, from the phenomenon forms to thought, I arrive at an original thinking substance, and in reasoning from cause to effect, I arrive at the power of a person to cause creation of what she thinks about. And through experience, I find that reasoning is right. This is my best proof. If a person who reads this book becomes rich in practicing what is written there, it is a point in favor of my thesis. But if each person who reads this book is enriched by practicing what is written, there is positive proof until someone practices the process and fails. The theory is true unless the process fails, and this process will not fail because anyone who does exactly what is written in this book will become rich. I said that people get rich by operating in a certain way, and to do that, people need to train themselves to think in one way, certain way. A person's way of operating is a direct result of the way she thinks. To operate the way you want, you will have to acquire the ability to think in the way you want. It's the first step towards obtaining wealth. And think what you want to think. That's think the truth without taking into account the appearances. Every individual has the natural and fundamental power to think what he wants to think, but it takes a lot more effort than thinking which is suggested by appearances. It is easy to think what is suggested by the appearances. Think true without taking into account appearances is laborious and requires energy. Expenditure far greater than anything else other work that one may be required to do. There is no effort that the majority of people avoid as much as that of a maintained thought and carry on. It's the hardest work in the world. This is especially true when the truth is opposed to appearances. Any appearance in the visible world tends to produce a corresponding form in the mind of the one who observes it, and this cannot be avoided only by maintaining the thought of the truth. Observe the appearances of poverty will produce the corresponding shapes in your own mind, unless you maintain the truth that there is no poverty, but only abundance. Think about health when you are surrounded by appearances of illness, or thinking riches amidst the appearances of poverty requires power, but whoever acquires this power becomes mentally a master. That person can conquer destiny and can obtain this that she wants. This power can only be acquired by focusing on the fundamental fact behind all appearance, the existence of substance single mind of which and by which all things are done. Then we must understand the truth according to which every thought held in this substance becomes a form, and that an individual can impress his thoughts in this substance in such a way that it will take shape and become things visible. When we realize this, we give up all doubt and all fear, because we know that we can create what we want to create, get what we want, have, and become what we want to be. As a first step towards enrichment, you must believe all three statements, fundamentals given previously in this chapter. In order to emphasize them, I repeat them here. There exists a thinking substance from which all things came from, and which, in its original state, saturates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing represented by this thought. A person can represent things in his thoughts and, in impressing his thought in the formless substance, can cause creation of what she thinks about. You must put aside all other design of the universe, and you must design this until it is fixed in your mind and become your habitual thought. Read these statements and reread them again. Fix each word in your memory and think about it until you believe firmly what they say. If any doubt arises, get rid of it. Don't listen to any arguments against this idea. Don't go to churches or conferences where concepts contrary to this are taught or preached. Don't read magazines or books that teach ideas different. If you are confused in your understanding, belief, and trust, all your efforts will be wasted. Don't ask yourself why these things are true, and do not speculate on how of which they can be true. Take the simply in confidence. The science of wealth begins with acceptance, absolute of this. You need to get rid of the latest vestiges of the old idea according to which there is a deity whose will is that you are poor, or whose goals can be achieved by keeping yourself poor. The intelligent substance that is everything and in everything, and who lives in everything and lives in you, is a conscious living substance. Being a conscious living substance, it must have the nature and constitutive desire of all living intelligence for increase of life. Everything that lives must continually seek the increase of one's life, because life, by the simple action of to live, must increase. A seed, fallen to the ground, triggers its activity, and produces around 100 seeds, additional by the fact that she lives. The life, by living, multiplies. She doesn't stop to become more. She has to do it if it's not only to continue to be. Intelligence is in the same need continued increase. Any thought that we have made another thought necessary, consciousness continually develops. Everything we learn leads to learning another fact. The knowledge continually increases. Every talent we cultivate brings desire to cultivate another talent. We are subject to the push of life, which seeks to express itself, which leads us to always know more, do more and be more. To know more, do more and be more, we must have more. We must use things because we learn, do, and let's become only by using things. We must enrich ourselves to live more. The desire for wealth is fuller. Every desire is the effort of one latent possibility that wants to take action, a power that seeks to manifest itself. This that makes you want more money is same thing as what makes a plant grow plant. It is life seeking to express itself more completely. The unique living substance must be subject to this constitutive law of all life. She is imbued with the desire to live more, and this is why it is subject to the necessity to create things. The unique substance desires to live more in you and through you. As a result, she wants you to have everything what you can use. It is God's desire for you to be rich. He wants you to be rich because he can express yourself better if you have lots of things to use to manifest it. He can live better in you if you have unlimited control of the resources of the life. The universe wants you to have everything that you want. Nature is favorable to your plans. Everything is naturally intended for you. Realize that this is true. It is essential, however, that your goal harmonizes with the purpose that is in all. You must want real life, not only pleasure or gratification sensual. Life is the implementation of functions, and the individual only really lives when using each function, physical, mental, and spiritual, of which he is capable, without excess in any. It's not about getting rich to live like a pig, for the gratification of animal desires. That's not life. But the implementation of each physical function is part of life, and no one lives completely if he refuses an expression normal and healthy to the body's impulses. It's not about getting rich just to enjoy intellectual pleasures, acquire knowledge, gratify one's ambitions, shine in front of others and be famous. All this is legitimate, but the person who does not live that for the pleasure of the intellect will not have only a partial life and will never be satisfied with her fate. It's not about getting rich just to the property of others, to lose oneself in the saving humanity, to experience the joys of philanthropy and sacrifice. The joys of the soul are only part of the life and are neither better nor more noble than any other part. It's about getting rich in order to be able to eat, drink and party when it's time moment, with a view to surrounding yourself with beautiful things, to visit distant countries, to nourish your mind and develop your intellect, with a view to loving others and do friendly things, and be able to play an important role in helping the world to discover the truth. But remember that excessive altruism is neither better nor more noble than selfishness. Excessive. It is an error in both cases. Intelligent substance will create things for you, but will not take away things from someone else to give them to you. You must get rid of the mind of competition. You must create, not compete for what is already created. You must not take anything someone. You must not bargain hard. You must not cheat or take undue advantages. You must not let anyone work for you by paying less than what he deserves. You must not desire what belongs to others, nor look at them with envy. No one has anything that you cannot have the equivalent, and this without taking it from him. You must become a creator, not a competitor. You're going to get what you want, but it will be done in such a way that when you have it, anyone you influence will itself have more. I am well aware that there are people who acquire a lot of money by acting exactly the opposite of what the paragraph says above. I owe you a word of explanation. Individuals of this type who become very rich sometimes get there exclusively, thanks to their extraordinary competitive spirit, in other cases thanks to the fact that they unconsciously align their actions with the goals and movements of the substance for growth via industrial evolution. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Morgan, and the others were the agents unconscious of the supreme substance for the necessary work of systematization and organization of industrial production. In the end, their work will contribute enormously to improving life for all, but their days are practically numbered. They have organized the production and will soon be replaced by the agents of the mass who will organize the distribution machinery. They are like the dinosaurs of the ages prehistoric. They play a necessary role in the process of evolution, but the same power that produced them will get rid of them. And it's good to keep in mind that they were never really rich. The account of the private lives of most people of this class shows that they were perfectly abject and contemptible. The riches acquired with the spirit of competition are never satisfactory nor permanent. They are yours today and another tomorrow. Remember that if you want to get rich in some way, scientific and certain, you must rise entirely out of the mind of competition. You must never think a moment that reserves are limited. That you start to think that everything money is parked and controlled by others, and that you must strive to do pass laws to stop this process and so on. Then you fall into competitive spirit, and your power to creation disappears as long as you are stubborn. And worse, you will probably stop the creative movements you had already started. Know that there are countless millions of dollars of gold not yet discovered in the mountains of the earth, and know that otherwise more would be created by the substance thinking to meet your needs. Know that the money you need will happen even if, for this, it is necessary that thousands of men are led to discover new gold mines tomorrow. Never look at visible reserves. Always see the unlimited riches in formless substance, and know that they arrive to you as quickly as you can receive and use them. No one can. In piling up the visible reserves, you prevent you from receiving what is yours. So don't ever allow yourself to think that, if you do not hurry, the best lands will be taken before you be ready to build your residence. Don't worry about trusts and conglomerates, afraid that they could soon own all the earth. Don't worry that you'll miss what you want because someone will beat at the post. This simply cannot not happen. You are not looking for a possession of someone else. You make what you want be created by formless substance, and the supply is unlimited. Stick to the established formula. There exists a thinking substance from which all things came from, and which, in its original state, saturates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing represented by this thought. A person can represent things in his thoughts and, by impressing his thought in substance without form, can cause the creation of what she is thinking about. When I say you should not bargain hard, I don't want to say you shouldn't bargain at all, or that you are above the need to have discussions with others. I mean, you won't have need to practice unfair exchanges. You don't have to get something for nothing, but can give to each, no one more than what you take from them. When you buy, you can't give someone more in monetary value than what you take from him, but when you sell, you can give him more in use value than the monetary value that you take it from him. Paper, inks, and other components of this book may not be worth the price you paid for it, but if the ideas suggested by the work bring you thousands of dollars, you haven't been fooled by those who sold it to you. They gave you a large use value versus a small monetary value. Suppose I own a painting by a great artist who, in a developed society, worth thousands of dollars. I take it in Baffin Bay, and because I am a good seller, I manage to sell it to a native in exchange for a lot of furs worth $500. I really abused him because he has no use for this paint. She has no use value for him. She will not add to his life. Now suppose I exchange this same lot of furs for a rifle worth $50. There, he made a good deal. He using a gun. He will get a lot more out of it, furs and more food. This will increase his life in every way and will enrich it. When you move from the competitive spirit creatively, you can examine your exchanges very strictly, and if you sell to anyone anything that does not add to his life more than what he gives you in exchange, you can afford to stop this. You must not abuse the others in business, and if you are in a business that abuses people, withdraw from it immediately. Give everyone more in use value than what you take from it in monetary value, so you increase life in the world through each of your transactions. If you have employees working for you, what you get from them must be worth more in value monetary than what you pay them in salaries. But you can organize your company so that it is penetrated by the spirit of advancement. So each employee, whoever wishes, can progress little by little each day. You can organize your business to that it does for your employees what it work is being done for you. You can run your business in a way that make a sort of ladder by which each employee who makes the effort can rise himself towards wealth. And if he doesn't with the opportunity you offer, it will not be your fault. And finally, it's not because you cause creating your wealth from formless substance that saturates your entire environment. It follows that they will take shape in the atmosphere and form before your eyes. I'm not telling you, by example, that if you want a machine sew, you will impress the thought of a sewing machine in the substance, thinking until the machine is formed without work in the room where you find or elsewhere. But if you want a sewing machine, maintain the image mental with the most positive certainty whether it is being manufactured or already in path for you. After forming the image mentally, have the most absolute confidence and without the slightest doubt that the machine sewing is underway. Never think about it and never talk about it other than in conversation to arrive. Consider it already yours. It will be brought to you by the power of the supreme intelligence acting on the mind men. If you live in Maine, someone may be from Texas or Japan for a negotiation which will result in your obtaining what you want. In this case, the whole affair will be as much that person's advantage over yours. Never forget that the thinking substance lives through everything, in everything, communicates with everything, and can influence everything. The desire to the thinking substance for a longer life, full and better, caused manufacturing of all existing sewing machines and can cause the manufacture of millions others. And she will do it every time people set it in motion by their desire and their confidence and by operating from certain way. You are, without a doubt, entitled to a sewing machine at home, and it's all as sure as you can have anything else or all the things that you want and that you will use to improve your life and that of others. You should not hesitate to ask a lot. It is your Father's pleasure to offer you the kingdom, said Jesus. Their original substance wants to live everything that is possible in you and wants to have everything that you can and will use to lead a more abundant life. If you strengthen your conscience that your desire for the possession of riches becomes one with the desire of supreme power to express oneself more completely, your confidence becomes invincible. I once saw a little boy sitting at a piano which tried in vain to release a harmony by hitting the keys. I saw although he was sad and unhappy with his inability to play real music. I him asked the cause of his discontent, and he replied, I can feel the music inside me, but I can't move my hands as they should. The music in him was the impulse of the original substance which contains all the possibilities of all life. Everything that is music sought to express yourself through the child. God, the one substance, tries to live and to do and enjoy things through humanity. He said, I want hands to build marvelous structures, to play divine harmonies, to paint glorious works. I want feet to travel, eyes to see my beauties, tongues to speak powerful truths, and to sing wonderful songs, and so on. All that can exist as possibility seeks to express himself through people. God wants only those who can play music, have a piano, or any other instrument, and that they have the means to cultivate their talent to the max. He wants those who can appreciate beauty, can surround yourself with beautiful things. He wants those who can discern the truth, have all opportunities to travel and observe. He wants those who can appreciate the clothes are well dressed, and that those who can enjoy good food nourish luxuriously. He wants all these things because he is himself who enjoys them and who appreciates them. It is his creation. It is God who wants to play, sing, enjoy beauty, proclaim the truth, wear refined clothing, and eat good food. It's God who works in you to want and to act, said the Apostle Paul. The desire you feel for riches, it is the infinite which seeks to express himself in you, as he sought to express himself in the little boy at the piano. So you should not hesitate to ask a lot. Your role is to be precise and to express your desire to God. This is a difficult point for many people. They retain something from old idea that poverty and self-sacrifice please God. They contemplate poverty as part of the plan, a necessity of nature. They have the idea that God has finished his work, did all that could be done, so the majority of people must stay poor because there is not enough to make it out. They cling so tightly to this thought wrong that they are ashamed to ask for wealth. They try not to want more, only a very modest skill, just enough to live comfortably enough. I remember the case of a student who had said that he had to put in his mind a clear picture of the things he wanted, so that creative thinking of these things could be impressed in the substance without form. He was a very poor man living in rental and having no money other than what he was gaining day by day, and he could not grasp the fact that all wealth was his. So, after careful consideration, he decided that he could reasonably request a new carpet for his best room and a coal stove to heat the house during the cold season. By following the instruction from this book, he got these things in a few months, and then he began to realize that he hadn't asked enough. He walked through the house in which he lived and imagined all the improvements what he would like to do there. He added mentally a bay window here and a bedroom there until the image of his habitation is complete in his mind. Then he imagined the furnishings. Keeping the complete image in his mind, he began to operate in the manner certain and to evolve towards what he wanted. Today he owns the house and makes it modify according to the image in his mind. And now, with greater confidence, he aims higher. It was granted to him according to his faith, and it is same for you and for every one of us. Wealth is to communicate the idea of what you want to the substance without shape. This is correct, and you will see that, for achieve, it becomes necessary for you connect with intelligence without form in a balanced way. Ensuring this balanced relationship is a question of such fundamental importance and so vital that I am going to devote this chapter and give you instructions that, if you follow them, they will put you with certainty in perfect mental union with the supreme power or God. The entire adjustment process, mental and harmony, can be summarized in one word: gratitude. To begin with, you believe that there is an intelligent substance from which all things. Then you believe that this substance gives you everything you desire. And finally, you put yourself in relationship with her through a feeling of deep gratitude. Many people who order their lives correctly in all other respects are kept in poverty by their lack of gratitude. After receiving a gift from God, they cut the line that connects by neglecting to make an acknowledgement of reception. It is easy to understand that the more we live close to the source of wealth, the more wealth we will receive. And it is as easy to understand that the soul that is ever grateful lives closer to God than she who does not, never looks with gratitude. More, we mentally fixate on the supreme when good things we arrive, the more good we will receive things and the more quickly they will arrive. And the reason is simply that the mental attitude of recognition brings the mind closer to the source from which it comes, the reason for recognition. If this is a new idea for you, gratitude establishes you in a better mental union with the creative energies of the universe. Examine the thing carefully and you will see that it is true. The good ones, things you already have, are you arrive through the observance of certain laws. Gratitude will lead your mind along ways in which things happen, will keep you in harmony with the creative thinking, and will save you from falling in competitive thinking. Gratitude alone can encourage constant observation of overall and can prevent you from falling into the error of thinking that resources are limited, which would be fatal for your hopes. There is a law of gratitude, and it is absolutely necessary for you to observe it if you want to get the results you aim. The law of gratitude is the principle natural that action and reaction are always equal and in opposite directions. The surge of recognition for your mental thanks to intelligence supreme, is a release or expenditure of energy. She cannot fail to reach supreme intelligence, and the reaction is an instant movement towards you. Shoot God at night, and he will shoot at night you. This is a statement psychologically true. And if your gratitude is strong and constant, the reaction in the substance without form will be strong and continuous. The movement things you want will always be oriented towards you. Notice the attitude of recognition that Jesus took, how he always seemed to say, "Thank you, Father, for listening to me." You cannot deploy a lot of power without gratitude, because it is gratitude that keeps associated with power. But the value of gratitude does not consist not just to bring you more benefits in the future. Without gratitude, you can't escape thoughts for long negative regarding the way things. The moment you allow your mentality to rehash things negatively as they are, you start to lose ground. You focus your attention on the common, the ordinary, the incomplete, the defiled, and the contemptible, and your mind takes the form of these things. You will then transmit these forms or mental images to the formless substance. And the common, the ordinary, the incomplete, the defiled, and the contemptible will happen to you. Allow your mind to rehash. To be inferior is to become inferior, and you surround with inferior things. Conversely, fixing your attention on the best is surround yourself with the best and become the best. The creative power in us, we transformed into the image of what we let's pay attention. Us too, we are of a thinking substance, and the thinking substance always takes the form of what she is thinking about. The grateful mind is constantly fixed on the best. It therefore tends to become the best. It takes the form or character of the best and will receive the best. Furthermore, trust arises from gratitude. The grateful mind waits, continually good things, and its expectation becomes trust. The reaction of the gratitude on a person's mind produces confidence, and every expression of recognition increases confidence. Their person who does not experience a feeling of gratitude cannot keep a long trust alive, and you can't enrich by the creative method without lasting confidence, as we will see in the following chapters. It is therefore necessary to cultivate the habit gratitude for every good thing that happens to you, and to be continually grateful. And because everything contributed to your advancement, you should include everything in your gratitude. Don't waste a lot of time thinking or to talk about faults and bad actions of those in power. Their organization of the world created your opportunities. Everything what you get actually happens to you thanks to them. Don't get angry at the corrupt politicians. If they weren't there, we would live in anarchy, and your opportunities would be greatly reduced. God worked long and very patiently to get us to where we are regarding industrial development and in government, and he is moving forward in his work. There is not the slightest doubt that he will rid of plutocrats, tycoons, trusts, captains of industry and politicians as soon as we can do without them. But in the meantime, they are all very necessary. Remember that they contribute to install the transmission lines along which your riches will reach you, and be grateful for it. This will put in harmonious relationship with what it there is good in all things, and what is good in all things will come to you. New story of the man who formed a mental image of his house, and you will have a valid idea of the initial step towards wealth. You have to form a clear and precise mental image of what you want. You cannot communicate an idea if you yourself don't have it. You have to have it before you can give, and many people fail not to impress the thinking substance because they themselves only have one idea, vague and foggy, of what they want to have, to do, or become. It is not enough to have a general desire for wealth to do the good. Everyone has this desire. It is not enough to have a desire to travel, see things, experience more fully, etc. Everyone also has these desires. If you were to send a telegram to a friend, you would not send him the letters of the alphabet in order leaving it construct the message, and you would not send not random words either in a dictionary. You would send coherent, meaningful sentences. When you're trying to impress your desires in the thinking substance, remember to do so through a coherent declaration. You have to know what you want and be specific and precise. You cannot enrich yourself or implement the power creative in sending wishes incomplete and vague desires. Go through your desires rigorously as the man I spoke of walked through his house. See exactly what you want and create a mental image of it as you want the thing to appear when you will get it. This clear mental image, you must keep it in mind continually. Like a sailor keeps in mind the port to which he is heading steers his boat, you must keep focused on your goal. You must not lose sight of him any more than man at the helm never lose sight of the compass. It is not necessary to take exercises of concentration, nor of having time reserved of prayer and declaration, nor to enter into silence, nor to carry out any occult operations. Some of these practices are not bad, but all you have need is to know what you want and to want it so ardently that it will remain in your thoughts. Spend as much of your leisure time as possible to look at your image, but no need to take exercises to focus on what he really wants. These are the things that don't interest you, not really, that require effort to focus your attention on it. Unless you really want to enrich, and may your desire be strong enough to keep your thoughts moving towards your goal as the magnetic pole maintains the needle of the compass, it will not be really not worth trying to execute the instructions given in this book. The methods presented here are intended to people whose desire for wealth is strong enough to overcome mental laziness and the desire to let go, and quite strong to make these methods work. So, more clear and precise you create your image, and the more you observe it in all its pleasant details, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the more it will be easy to keep your mind fixed on the image of what you want. However, something more is needed than just see the image clearly. If it's everything you do, you are one dreamer and will have little or no power to materialize. Behind your clear vision must exist the goal of realizing it, of making it manifest in a tangible way. And behind this goal must exist confidence invincible and constant as what you want is already yours, that it is close and that you just have to take possession. Live mentally in the new house until it takes shape around you physically. In the field mental, enter into complete enjoyment of the thing you want. Whatever you ask when you pray, believe that you receive it and you will have it, said Jesus. See the things you want as if they were really all around you, the weather. Imagine yourself own and use them. Use them in imagination as you will use them when they are in your possession. Live with your mental image until it is clear and distinct. Then take the attitude, mental possession of everything in this image. Take possession of it mentally with the complete certainty that it is really to you. Strengthen this possession mental. Do not at any time abandon the belief that it is true. And don't forget what was said in chapter previous about gratitude. Be so grateful for everything, throughout while you wait for it, while you plan to be when it takes shape. The person who can sincerely thank God for the things he does not still possesses only in imagination a faith real. She will get rich. It will cause creating whatever she wants. You don't need to pray all the time for what you want. He is not necessary to repeat every day to God this that you want. Your role is to formulate intelligently your desire for things that contribute to a fuller life and to fix these things into a coherent whole, then to impress this set of desires in substance without form, who has the power and desire to bring you what you want. You do not cause this impression by the repetition of sequences of words. You there provoke her by maintaining the vision with the determined goal to achieve it and confidence deep that you actually reach it. The answer to prayer does not depend on your faith when you speak, but of your faith when you work. You can't impress God by reserving a special Sabbath day for him. Say what you want, and then forget it, rest of the week. You cannot impress him by booking hours, special prayers in your oratory. Then you put it aside until the next prayer time. Oral prayer is useful and has an effect, especially on yourself, by clarifying your vision and strengthening your faith, but is not your oral request which gets what you want. To enrich yourself, you don't need a soft prayer time. You must pray without stopping. And by pray, I mean assiduously maintain your vision with the aim of causing its creation in the material universe and certainty that you are doing it. Believe you receive it. After clearly forming your vision, the whole thing comes down to receiving. When you have trained it, it is good to make an oral statement to thank the Supreme. From this moment on, you must mentally receive what you ask for. Live in the new house, wear them nice clothes, drive the car, travel and plan with confidence greater journeys. Think about and speak of all the things you asked for in terms of actual possession and current. Imagine an environment and financial condition exactly like you want them, and then, mentally, live in that environment and that environment all the time. Financial condition until they take physical form. Be careful, however, not to do this like a simple dreamer and castle builder in Spain. Hold on to certainty that what you imagine is being achievement and for your intention to achieve it. Remember that, in the use of imagination, it is the certainty and the intention which differentiate between the scientist and the dreamer. And having learned this, this is where you must learn the correct use of will. To start to enrich yourself. In a scientific way, you do not try to exercise the power of your will outside of yourself. In any case, you don't have the right. It is bad to exercise your will on other men and women for force you to do what you want. It is obviously also incorrect to compel people with your power mental than to do it by your power physical. If coerced by physical force enslave people, coerced by mental means gives exactly the same result. The only difference is in the method. If you take things from people by physical force is theft, to take by mental strength is also flight. There is no difference in principle. You do not have the right to use your mental power on a person, even for his own good, because you don't know what is his property. The science of enrichment does not require you to exercise your power or your strength over anyone, from whatever manner whatsoever. There is not the slightest need. And in fact, any attempt to exercise your will over others will only tend to make you fail in your goals. You do not have to exercise your will over things to force them to come to you. It would simply be trying to oblige God, and that would be stupid and pointless. You don't need to try anymore to force God to give you good things. You don't need to use your strength of will to make the sun rise. You don't have to exert your strength will to conquer a deity malicious or to compel forces stubborn and rebellious to do what you agrees. The substance is benevolent to your regard, and she is more eager to give you what you want that you don't are to receive it. To get rich, you only need exert your force of will on yourself. When you know what to think and what to do, you must use your willpower, for you require you to think and do the right things. This is the legitimate use of will to get what you want. Use it to keep you on track. Use your will to think and operate in the certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind to act on things or people. Keep your mental near you. This is where he can more. Use your mind to form the image of what you want and to keep this vision with certainty and intention. And use your will to maintain your mind on rails. The more uniform your certainty and goal and continue, the richer you will become quickly, because you will only cause positive impressions in the substance, and that you will not neutralize them or counterbalance with impressions negative. The image of your desires, guarded with certainty and intention, is taken by the substance without shape and penetrates it from a great distance, throughout the universe for what we soaps. As this impression spreads, realization. All living, inanimate things, or not yet created, are activated towards creating what you want. All the forces begin to be exerted in this direction. Everything starts to move towards you. The thoughts of people everywhere are influenced to do what is necessary to the realization of your desires, and they work for you without knowing it. But you can cancel everything by issuing a negative impression in the substance without form. Doubt or skepticism are also sure to start a movement distance than trust and intention are to start a movement towards you. Moves towards, it is by not understanding this that many people fail. Every hour and time you spend letting it express itself, doubts and fears, every hour that you spend worrying, every hour when your soul is possessed by the lack of conviction establishes a current distance from you, which affects every one domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are intended for those who believe, and to those only. Since this certainty is so important, it is up to you to control your thoughts, and since your certainty is mainly formed by the things you observe and that you are thinking about, it is important to choose carefully what you value your attention. And this is where the use of will comes in, for it is by your will that you determine what you will focus on attention. If you want to get rich, you should not undertake a study of poverty. We don't create something by thinking to its opposite. We do not acquire health by studying the disease and thinking about it. We does not elevate morality by studying sin and come to think of it. No one gets rich in studying poverty and thinking about it. Medicine, as the science of disease, has increased disease. Religion, like science of sin, has elevated sin. The economy, as a study of poverty, will fill the world of misery and shortage. Don't talk about poverty. Don't make research about it. Don't worry about it not. Don't ask yourself what are its causes. You have nothing to do with it. That concerns you. This is the remedy. Don't spend your time pretending charitable works. Many of these associations tend to perpetuate poverty that they want to eradicate. I'm not saying that you should harden your heart or be inhumane, and that you should refuse to hear the cry of misfortune. I say that you should not try to eradicate poverty in one of the conventional ways. Put poverty and everything that pick up behind you and do good. Get rich. This is the best way to help the poor. And you can't maintain the image mentality that will make you rich if you fill your mind with images of poverty and all the distress that accompanies it. Do not read books or articles that give a detailed account of the misery squatters, the horror of the work of children, etc. Don't read anything that fills your mind with depressing images of shortage and suffering. You can't help him in the slightest. Poor in knowing these things, and the knowledge general of these things does not tend everything to eliminate poverty. What tends to eliminate poverty is not its image in your mind, but the image of wealth, abundance, and possibility of getting out of it in the minds of poor. You do not abandon the poor in his misery when you refuse to allow your mind to roll in the images of this misery. We will get rid of poverty, not by increasing the number of good people who think about it, but by increasing the number of poor people who want to become rich with confidence. The poor do not need charity, but of inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to prolong their life misery, or offer them a distraction to bring them oblivion for an hour or two. But inspiration can lift them out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, show them that they can become rich. Prove it by your own enrichment. The only way poverty will be banished from this world is to have a great number, ever increasing, of people who practice the teaching of this book. We must teach people about enrichment through creation, not through competition. Anyone who gets rich through competition brings down the ladder by which she has gone up. She keeps the others in down. But anyone who gets rich by creation paves the way for thousands others to do the same and encourages them to do it. You don't show hardness of heart or unsympathetic dispositions when you refuse to pity poverty, read texts on poverty, think about it, to talk about it, or to listen to those who talk about it. Use the power of your will to keep you off the subject of poverty and to fix your thoughts with confidence and intention in your vision of what you want and are creating. You cannot maintain a vision of true and clear wealth if you constantly turn your pay attention to opposite images, that they whether external or imaginary. Don't talk about your old problems financial, if you had any. Don't think about it, no way. Don't talk about the poverty of your parents or the hardness of your bonus youth. Do something like this it is. The moment you do it, you mentally classify among the poor, and this, for sure, will stop the movement of things towards you. Put poverty and all what touches it behind you. You have accepted as correct a certain theory of the universe, and you make rest all your hopes of happiness on her validity. What can you gain from lending attention to opposing theories? Don't read books that say the end of the world is near, and do not read the writings of mud-diggers and philosophers pessimists who say that the world is degrades to the devil. The world is not going well to hell, he goes to God. It's a becoming wonderful. It is true that there can be a lot of things in the current conditions which are sickening, but what is the point of them? Study while they are going towards their end, knowing that their very study tends simply to delay their end and to keep with us. Why give time and attention to things that will disappear thanks to the progress of evolution, while you can hasten their end simply by advancing this evolution as far as you are concerned? No matter the apparent horror of the conditions of certain countries, regions, or places, You are wasting your time and destroying your own chances by dedicating yourself to it. You should be interested in enrichment of the world. Think of wealth towards which way the world goes rather than towards poverty where it comes from, and keep in mind that the only way for you to help the world get richer is to enrich yourself through creative method, and not by method competitive. Give all your attention to riches. Don't focus on poverty. Every time you think of the poor, or that you talk about them, think about them and talk about them like people who are going to become rich, who should be praised rather than pitied. Then these and others will feel inspired and will begin to seek to go out. When I say you have to dedicate everything, your time and all your thoughts to the wealth, that doesn't mean you have to be sordid or miserly. Competitively, the fight to get rich is a perverse fight to control others, but everything changes when we get there to the creative spirit. Everything that is possible on the path to greatness, service to others, and an eminent work comes through the means of enrichment, because everything is made possible by the uses of things. I repeat, you can't aim for anything greater or nobler than becoming rich, and you must fix your attention on your mental image of wealth, excluding anything that could tend to confuse or to obscure this vision. Some people remain poor because that they are ignorant of the fact that there is wealth for them, and this possibility of the path to enrichment manifested by your own person and your practice. Others are poor, although they guess that there is a way out, because that they are too intellectually lazy to make the mental effort necessary to find this way and implement it. For these, the best thing you can do is to excite their desire by showing the happiness that comes from wealth integrated. Still others are poor, although they have some notion of science, because that they got so bogged down and lost in a labyrinth of theories that they don't know which route to take. They try a mixture of many systems and fail in all. For these, again, the best thing to do is to show the correct way, to do it your own person and practice. A gram of practice is worth a ton of theory. The best thing you can do for the world is to get the most out of yourself. You cannot serve God and humanity in no way more effective than become rich. Rich by the creative method, of course, and not by the method competitive. Another thing, we affirm to give in details the principles of the science of wealth, and if that's true, you don't need to read any other book on the subject. This may seem narrow-minded and arrogant, but examine the point. There is no methods of operations in arithmetic other than addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's all. Not can be. In geometry, only one plus short distance between 2 points. There is no that a way of thinking scientifically, and it consists of thinking in the way that leads to the goal most directly and most simply. No one has yet formulated a system shorter and less complex than that presented here. We removed everything that is not essential. When you start this method, put all others aside. Take them out of your thoughts too. Read this book every day. Keep it with you. Entrust it to your memory. Don't think to no other system or theory, otherwise you will start to have doubts, lacking confidence, hesitating in your thoughts, and then you will begin to fail. After succeeding and becoming rich, you will be able to study other systems as much as you want, and only read the most comments optimistic about world news, those who match your image. Besides, don't play with theosophy, spiritualism, or other practices of same kind. Maybe the dead live again and are close, but, if so, leave them alone and mind your own business. Wherever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own problems to deal with, and we have no right to interfere. We can't help them, and it's completely doubtful that they can help us, or that we have no right to take their time if they could. Leave alone the dead and deceased, and resolve your own problem. Get rich. If you start getting involved in occultism, you go start mental currents contradictory, which will certainly lead your hopes sinking. Now this chapter and the previous ones brought us to the statements following fundamentals. There exists a thinking substance from which all things came from, and which, in its original state, saturates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing represented by this thought. A person can represent things in his thoughts and, by impressing his thought in substance without form, can cause the creation of what she is thinking about. For this, a person must pass from the spirit of competition to the spirit creative. It must form an image-clear mind of the things she wants and maintain this image in its thoughts with determined intention to get what she wants and the certainty absolute that she gets it effectively. She must close her thoughts of everything that could weaken his intention, disturb his vision, or stifle one's certainty. And on top of all this, we are going to then see that this person must live and act in a certain way. Thought is the creative power, or the driving force that pushes the power creative in action. Think about certain way will bring you riches, but you should not trust the thought alone, that is to say, without taking into account of your personal actions. We have not yet reached the level of development, even assuming that a such level is possible, where a person could create directly from the substance without form, without processes, natural or manual labor. A person must not only think, but personal actions must complement his thought. By thought, you can pull towards you gold from the heart of the mountains, but it will not extract itself, refine itself, and hit into pieces that will start rolling on the paths looking for their way to your pocket. Under the influence of the power of the Supreme Spirit, people's affairs will be ordered in such a way that one will be led to mine gold for you. Economic transactions, other people will move so that gold will be brought to you. And you need to organize your things in a way to be able to receive it when it arrives to you. Your thought drives all animate things or inanimate to work to bring you what you want, but your personal activity must be such that it allows you to honestly receive the things you want when they come to you. You should neither take them as charitable donations nor steal them. You must give to each more in use value than the monetary value of what he gives you. The scientific use of thought consists to form a clear mental image and distinct from what you want, to have the firm intention to obtain it and to represent you, with grateful confidence, that you are really get it. Do not try to project your thoughts from in some mysterious or occult way, with the idea of making it externalize and carry out your projects. It is a vain effort which will weaken your ability to think healthily. The action of thought to enrich oneself is completely explained in the chapter's previous ones. Your confidence and intention positively impress your vision in formless substance, which has the same desire as you for more life, and this vision received from you sets you in motion all creative forces in and through their usual paths of action, but directed towards you. It is not your role to guide or supervise the creative process. Everything that you have to do is maintain your vision, your intention, your confidence, and your gratitude. But you have to act a certain way so that when something happens to you, you take that thing that matches your image and put it in the intended place. You can really see the truth of this. When things happen to you, they will be in the hands of other people who will ask you something same value. And you can't get this who is yours only by giving to the other person what is his by right. Your portfolio will not transform into a magic purse that would always be full without effort on your part. This is the crucial point of the science of wealth, exactly where thought and personal action must be combined. There's many people who, consciously or no, set the forces in motion creative through the strength and continuity of their desire, but who remain poor because they do not prepare themselves to receive the thing they want when it arrives. By thought, the thing you want is brought. By action, you take it. Whatever your action may be, it is obviously you need to act now. You cannot act in the past, and it is essential for the clarity of your vision mentally that you eliminate the past. You cannot act in the future because the future is not here yet. And you can't not say how you will want to act in every future eventuality before this eventuality has happened. Because you are not now in appropriate activity or environment appropriate, don't think you must postpone action until you be in the activity or environment suitable. And don't lose now your time thinking about the best way to deal with possible future problems. Have confidence in your ability to face a problem when it arises. If you act in the present with your mental in the future, your action in the present will be done with divided thought and will lack effectiveness. Put all your thoughts into action by course. Don't give your creative impulse to original substance for then. You sit back and wait for results. If you do that, you won't get anything. Act now. There is no other time, only now, and there will never be other time than now. If you have never to keep yourself ready to receive what you want, you have to start now. And whatever it is, your action must very probably relate to your activity or your current job and about the people and objects in your environment here. You cannot act where you are not, nor where you have been, nor where you're going to be. You can only act where you are. Don't wonder if yesterday's work was done well or badly. Do it correctly work of the day. Don't try to do the work today of tomorrow. There will be enough time for do when you get there. Do not try to act on people or things out of reach by means occult or mystical. Don't wait for a change in environment to act. Change your environment by your action. You can act on your environment current in such a way as to cause your movement in a better environment. Maintain your vision of yourself in the best environment with confidence and intention, but work in the environment present with all your heart, with all your energy, and all your concentration mental. Don't spend any time dreaming wide awake or building castles in Spain. Stick to your vision of this what you want, and act now. Don't get lost looking for something new to do, or something strange, unusual, or remarkable action to be taken as a first step towards enrichment. It is probable that, for a while at least, your actions will be the same as those you have been doing for some time, but you must start now to accomplish them in the certain way, which you will enrich with certainty. If you work in a certain business, and you feel that it does not suit you, do not wait until you have started in the appropriate case before you begin to act. Don't be discouraged or lament. Don't have your ass on the chair because you're not in the right place. No one is in a so bad place that he cannot find his place, and no one is in such a bad place activity that he cannot enter into their chosen activity. Maintain your vision of yourself in the activity that suits you, with the intention to practice it, the certainty that you will practice, and you are in the process of achieve, but act in your activity current. Use your current activity as means of accessing a better activity, and use your current environment as the way to move towards a better environment. Your vision of suitable activity, if it is maintained with confidence and intention, will make the supreme power will push this activity towards you. And your actions, if they are executed in the manner certain, will push you towards this activity. If you are an employee or employee and feel that you have to change places to get this that you want, do not project your thought in space by relying on her to find you a new job. She will probably fail. Maintain the vision of yourself in the job you want while you act with confidence and intention in the job you have, and you will get with certainty the job you want. Your vision and confidence will highlight movement, the creative force to push this job towards you, and your actions will push the strengths of your own environment to lead you to the job you want. In ending this chapter, we will add a point to our statements fundamental. There exists a thinking substance from which all things came from, and which, in its original state, saturates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing represented by this thought. A person can represent things in his thoughts, and by impressing his thought in substance without form, can cause the creation of what she is thinking about. For this, a person must pass from the spirit of competition to the spirit creative. It must form an image, clear mind of the things she wants, and maintain this image in its thoughts with determined intention to get what she wants, and certainty absolute that she actually gets it. She must close her thoughts to anything that could weaken his intention, disturb one's vision, or stifle his certainty. To get what she wants when the thing happens to him, A person must act now on people and things in his environment. You must use your thought as indicated in the previous chapters and start doing what you can where you are, and you must do everything you can where you are. You can only move forward if you are larger than your current position, and no one is greater than their position current if it does not completely make any part of the work falling within this position. The world only advances thanks to those who do more than fill their current position. If no one completely filled out their current position, you can see that would have a setback in all areas. Those who do not completely fill their current position are the dead weights of society, government, commerce, and of the industry. They must be dragged to great cost to others. The progress of world is only slowed down by those who do not fulfill not the position they occupy. They belong to an ancient era, and they tend to degenerate. No company could move forward if everyone was smaller than their position. Social evolution is guided by law of physical and mental evolution. In the animal world, evolution is caused by an excess of life. When an organization has more life than he can express through the functions of his level, he develops organs of a higher level. A new species emerges. There would never have been new species if there had not been organizations that does more than fill their position. Rule is exactly the same for you. Your enrichment depends on the application of this principle in your own affairs. Every day is either a success or a failure, and it is the successful days that lead wherever you want. If every day is a failure, you will never be rich. If every day is a success, you can't not fail to become rich. If one thing can be done today and you don't do it, you have failed in this which concerns this thing, and the consequences may be more disastrous than you imagine it. You can't predict the consequences of the most banal action. You don't know not the activities of all forces set in motion in your favor. A lot may depend on what you are running certain simple acts, and this can be the very action that will open the door to the opportunity for great possibilities. You can never know everything arrangements that the Supreme Intelligence accomplished for you in the world of objects and human affairs. Your negligence or your failure to do certain small things can cause a big delay in getting what you want. Do everything that can be done every day this day. There is, however, a restriction or reservation regarding what is said above, and you must take this into account. You must not exhaust yourself at work, nor you rush blindly into an attempt to do as many things as possible in the shortest time possible. You must not try to do today the work of tomorrow, nor attempt to carry out in one day the work of a week. What really matters is not the number of things you do, but the effectiveness of each distinct action. Each action is in itself a success or failure. Each action is by itself effective or ineffective. Every action ineffective is a failure and, if you pass your life doing, task during your free time to apply your imagination to the details of your vision and to contemplate your detailed vision until it is firmly fixed in your memory. If you want fast results, go for it, practically all your free time. Through continued contemplation, you will have the image of what you want firmly fixed, a mental, formless substance. So, while you work, it will be enough for you to mentally refer to this image to boost your confidence and intention and to elicit your best effort. Contemplate your image during your time free until your conscience is free, so full that you can grab it instantly. You will be so excited about its brilliant promises that the mere thought of your image will implement the energies more powerful of your entire being. Let us repeat our statements again fundamental by slightly changing the last sentence to take this into account what we arrived at. There exists a thinking substance from which all things came from, and which, in its original state, saturates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing. Represented by this thought, a person can represent things in his thoughts, and by impressing his thought in substance without form, can cause the creation of what she is thinking about. For this, a person must pass from the spirit of competition to the spirit creative. It must form an image, clear mind of the thing she wants, and maintain this image in its thoughts with determined intention to get what she wants and certainty absolute that she actually gets it. She must close her thoughts to anything that could weaken his intention, disturb one's vision, or stifle his certainty. To get what she wants when the thing happens to him, a person must do everything that can be done now, in its current environment, by doing everything one by one, efficient manner. In any activity, your success depends in part on what you have, at a good level, the abilities required for this activity. Without musical skills, no one can succeed as a music teacher. Without mechanical skills, no one can succeed in an activity involving mechanical. Without tact or commercial skills, no one can succeed in commercial activities. But to possess, at one good level, the abilities required to the activity that attracts you does not ensure your enrichment. There are musicians at remarkable talent who nevertheless remain poor. There are blacksmiths, carpenters, and others who have excellent skills in their profession but who yet do not get rich. And he finds salespeople with good relationship skills that fail nevertheless. The different skills are tools. It is essential to have good tools, but it is just as essential to use these tools in a correct way. A man can use a sharp saw, square, good level, etc., and create a beautiful piece of furniture. Another man can take the same tools and get to work to reproduce the same object, but its product will be an unspeakable thing. He does not use the right tools to succeed. Your various physical and mental abilities are the tools with which you must do the work that will make you rich. So it will be easier for you to succeed if you enter into an activity for which you are well equipped in terms of skills. Generally speaking, you will perform better in an activity that uses your strongest faculties, the one for which you are naturally the best equipped. But we must still moderate this statement. No one should consider its vocation as irrevocably fixed by his birth predispositions. You can get rich in any activity because if you don't have the talent necessary, you can expand it. This simply means that you will have to constitute your tools while moving forward instead of limit yourself to the use of those with which you were born. It will be easier for you to succeed in an activity for which you have already well-developed talents, but you can succeed in any activity because you can develop a rudimentary talent, and there is no talent for which you don't have at least the basics. In terms of effort, you will get richer easily if you do what you are best suited, but you will become rich with more satisfaction if you do what you want to do. Doing what you want to do is life. And there is no real satisfaction in living in being forced to always do what we don't like, not and never being able to do what we want. The desire to do is proof that you have within you the power to do. Desire is a manifestation of power. The desire to play music is power who can play music seeking to express themselves and develop. The desire to invent mechanical devices is the mechanical talent seeking to express itself and to develop. When there is no power, developed or not, to do something, there is never any desire to do this thing. But when there is a strong desire to do something, it is certain proof that the power to do this thing is strong and just needs to be developed and applied in the appropriate manner. All things being equal, the best is to choose the activity for which you have the most developed talent, but if you have a strong desire to engage in a certain line of activity, then you should choose this work as the ultimate goal reach. You can do whatever you want to do, and it is your right and privilege to engage in the activity or vocation that is yours, the most pleasant and enjoyable. You don't have to do what you don't like, not do, and you shouldn't do it, except as a means of getting you to the activity you want to do. If, as a result of past mistakes, you are in an activity or environment unpleasant, you may be forced to do what you don't like for a few still time, but you can make the pleasant thing knowing that it makes possible to go towards what you want. If you feel that you are not in the good activity, don't act too hastily while trying to go to another activity. In general, the best way to change activity or environment is by a progression. Don't be afraid to make a change, sudden and radical, if the opportunity presents itself and which you estimate, after an examination methodical, that it is an opportunity valid, but never operate such change if you doubt the wisdom of such action. On a creative level, there is never any urgency, and there is no shortage of opportunities. When you get out of the competitive spirit, you end up understanding that you never need to act hastily. No one is going to beat you to the post for what you want to do. There is enough for all. If one place is taken, another, and better, will open up for you a little more late. You have plenty of time. In case of doubt, wait. Return to contemplation of your vision and increase your trust and your intention. And, in the times of doubt and indecision, cultivate gratitude in every way. A day or two spent contemplating the vision of what you want, in the most deep recognition that you are in getting it, will bring your mind into a relationship so close to the Supreme that you won't make any mistakes when you will act. There is a thought that knows everything there is, namely, and you can, if you have a deep gratitude, unite you intimately to this thought with confidence and the intention to move forward in life. Errors come from hasty actions or of actions performed in fear, in doubt, or in forgetting the real reason, which is more life for all and less for person. When you advance in the certain way, opportunities will present themselves to you, increasing number, and you will need to be very stable in your confidence and your intention, and you will have to keep yourself in excellent contact with the Supreme through admiring gratitude. Do everything you can every day, do it in a perfect way, but do it without haste, without worry or fear. Do it as quickly that you can, but don't rush. Never. Remember that as soon as you start to rush, you cease to be a creator and become a competitor. You fall back into the old mess again. As soon as you find yourself hurry, stop deliberately, fix your attention on the mental image of this that you want, and start accusing receipt of the fact that you are get it. The exercise of gratitude will never fail to strengthen your trust and re-establish your intention. Whether you change activity or not, your actions at the moment must relate to the matter in which you are currently engaged. You can enter into the matter you want by making constructive use of the one in which you are already engaged, in carrying out your daily tasks certain way. And as long as your job is to be in relationship with people, either face or by letter, the key thought of all your efforts must be to communicate to them. Impression of growth. Growth is what everyone is looking for, men and all women. It's the push of formless intelligence seeking to express oneself more fully in them. The desire for growth is inherent in all nature. This is the fundamental impulse of the universe. All human activities are based on the desire for growth. People looking for more food, more clothes, better shelter, more luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, more pleasure, growth, more life. All who lives is subject to the need to progress continually. Where growth stops of life, dissolution and death are installed immediately. Man knows this instinctively, so always looking for more. This law of growth perpetual is highlighted by Jesus in the parable of the talents. Alone those who increase what they have can keep something. The one who only did keep what he had, even that is took off. The normal desire for increasing wealth is neither bad nor reprehensible. It is simply the desire for a more abundant life. It is an aspiration, and because it is the deepest instinct of their nature, all men and all women are attracted to those who can give them more means of living. By following the certain path described in these pages, you get continuous growth for yourself, and you give it to everyone, those with whom you do business. You are a center of creation, hence the growth is given to all. Be sure of this, and communicate this insurance for every man, woman, and child who you are in contact with. Never mind, let the matter be small, even if it is not than selling a lollipop to a little one child. Put into it the thought of growth and make sure the client receives the thought. Communicate a sense of progress by everything you do, so that everyone will have the idea that you are a personality that progresses and you make progress all those who deal with you. Give the thought of growth even to people you meet in society, without no consideration of business, and to whom you don't try to sell anything. You can communicate this impression while maintaining the unwavering confidence that you yourself are on the path to growth, and letting this confidence inspire, fulfill, and cross each of your actions. Do everything you do with total belief that you are a personality who progress and who make everything progress the world. Feel that you are enriched, and that this by doing so, you enrich others and spread prosperity for all. Do not be boastful or conceited about your successes, and do not talk about them without necessity. True confidence is never boastful. Every braggart you meet is a person secretly afraid and full of doubt. Just feel your confidence and let it express itself in all your affairs. May all your actions, your tone, and your appearance expresses tranquility, assurance that you are rich, that you are already rich. The words will not be necessary to communicate this feeling to others. They will feel the impression of growth in your presence and will be attracted to you. You must make them feel this way, so well impression that they will sense that they themselves will benefit from growth in partnering with you. Make sure they give more use value than you. To them, take in monetary value. Be decently proud in doing so, and let it shine through. You won't miss never any customers. People go where they are, told gives growth, and the Supreme, which desires that everything grows, and who knows everything, will grow towards you men and women who will never have heard of you. Your business will grow quickly, and you will be surprised by the unexpected benefits who will come forward in your favor. From a day to day, you will be able to create larger projects to ensure biggest profits and go, if you want, towards a more pleasant activity. But in doing all this, you should never lose sight of your vision, nor your trust, nor your intention to obtain what you want. Let me now give you a cautionary advice regarding your motivations. Beware of insidious temptation to seek power over people. Nothing is more satisfying for a bad person, informed or partially developed, than the exercise of power or domination of others. The desire to rule over others' selfish satisfaction was the curse of the world. For countless centuries, kings and lords have drowned the earth in blood with their battles to expand their areas. This not to deploy more life for all, but to conquer more power for themselves. Nowadays, the main motivation in the world of business and industry is the same. Men assemble there armed with dollars and ruining lives and hearts of millions of people in the same fight of morons for more power on others. The merchant kings, like political kings, are inspired by the appetite for power. Beware of the temptation to search authority, to become a master, to be considered above the herd, to impress with a display of luxury, etc. The mind that seeks to dominate others is the competitive mind, not the creative mind. If you want to control your environment and your destiny, is not at all necessary to rule over others, well, at opposite. When you plummet to the level of the fight for first place, it's you who are dominated by fate and the environment, and your enrichment becomes the plaything of chance and your ramblings. Beware of the competitive spirit. There is no better formula for the principle of creative action than favorite statement of the late John of Toledo. What I want for I myself want it for everyone. What I wrote in the chapter above applies equally well to professional and to the employee, that representative or person in the business. It doesn't matter if you are a doctor, professor, minister of religion. If you can give vital growth to others and make them aware of it, they will be attracted by you and you will become rich. The doctor who sees himself as a great healer and who works towards the complete realization of this vision with confidence and intention, as described in previous chapters, will arrive at such proximity with the source of life that he will enjoy success exceptional. Patients will come to him in mass. No one benefits from greater opportunity to implement teaching of this book than a doctor, never mind to which of the various schools it belongs, because the principle of caring is common to all and can also be reached by all. The person who progresses in medicine, which maintains a clear picture of his success, and who observes the rules of trust, intention, and gratitude, this person will successfully cure any illness curable that she will take care of. In the field of religion, the world calls loudly to the capable minister to teach the true science of abundant living to those who listen to him. The one who masters the details of the science of wealth, as well as the associated sciences of being in good health, to be tall and to find love, and who teaches its details in pulpit, this one will never lack an audience. It is a word of God whose world needs. It will bring growth vital, and people will listen to it with happiness and will largely support the person who brings them this growth. What we need now is a demonstration of the science of life. We want preachers who can not only educate us, but also serve as examples in their own lives. We need the preacher who will himself, rich, healthy, tall, and loved, to teach us the means to access these qualities. This one, when he will present, will gain a large audience and faithful. This is also true of the teacher who can instill in children the faith and intention of life progressing. He will never be in job search, and any teacher who has in him this faith and this intention can transmit to his students. He can't help himself to pass it on to them if it is part of his own life and practice. Which is true for a teacher, a preacher, or doctor is also true for a lawyer, a dentist, an agent real estate, or an insurer. This is true for anybody. Mental and personal actions, the combinations that I have described, are infallible. They cannot fail. Every man and any woman who follows these instructions letter regularly and with perseverance will become rich. The law of growth of life is also rigorously certain in its actions than the law of gravity. Getting rich is the exact science. The employee will discover that this is also true in his case than in each of the other cases cited. Don't imagine that you don't have no chance of getting rich because you work where there is no visible opportunity for progression, where salaries are low and the cost of living is high. Form, in your mind, the clear vision of what you want and start taking action with confidence and intention. Do all the work you can every day and do each operation in one perfectly successful manner. Put it power of success and the intention to become rich in everything you do. But don't just do this with the idea of obtaining favors from your employer in the hope that he or one of your superiors will see your good job and will make you climb. It is little likely that they will do so. The person who is simply a good worker, who holds his place to the best of his abilities and who is satisfied with them, is valid for his employer. It is not the interest of the employer to promote it. This worker has more value where it is. To ensure your progress, you must something more than being too good for your place. The person who is sure to progress is the one that is too big for its place, who has a clear idea of what she wants to be, who knows that she can become what she wants to be, and who is determined to be what she wants to be. Do not try to fill more than usual your current position in order to please your employer. Do it in order to progress yourself. Maintain certainty and the intention to grow during the hours of work, after work, and before work. Maintain this in such a way that all person who comes into contact with you, foreman, colleague, or relation, will feel the power of intention emanating from you. Thus, everyone will receive from you the impression of progression and growth. People will be attracted to you and, if there is no possibility advancement in your current job, you will very soon find an opportunity to take another job. There is a power that never fails to present opportunities to the personality acting and progressing by complying to the rules. God can't help you if you operate certain way. It should help you to help himself. There is nothing in the circumstances of your life or in the industrial situation which can keep you going through adversity. If you can't get rich by working in the steelworks, you will be able to in a 10-hectare farm. And if you start to operate in this certain way, you will escape certainly at the heart of the steelworks and go to the farm or wherever you want to be. If a few thousand of its employees entered the certain path, the steelworks would quickly be confronted with a terrible dilemma. It should either offer more opportunities to its workers or close its doors. No one is forced to work for a trust. They cannot maintain people in a condition allegedly hopeless only as far as these people do not have knowledge of the science of wealth or are intellectually too lazy to practice it. Start thinking and acting like this certain, and your confidence and intention will make you alert to notice any opportunity to improve your condition. Such opportunities will come quickly for the supreme power, which works in everything and who works for you, you will bring. Don't wait for an opportunity to be all that you want. When presents itself an opportunity to be more than you are now and you feel attracted, take it. It will be a first step towards a bigger opportunity. In this universe, there cannot exist a lack of opportunities for the person who leads a life of progress. It is an intimate part of the constitution of the cosmos that if a person acts and thinks in the certain way, everything will be for her and will work together for its good, and that she will become rich with certainty. It is therefore necessary that employees, men and women, study this book assiduously and practice with confidence the operations they recommends. This will not fail. Many people will caught at the idea that there can be an exact science wealth. They cling to the impression that there is only a limited quantity of wealth and will repeat that it is necessary. Change social institutions and government even before a number few people can acquire a skill. But this is not true. It is true that current governments keep the masses in poverty, but it is because the masses do not think not and do not act in the certain way. If the masses begin to progress as suggested in this book, nor governments nor industrial systems can stop them. All systems must evolve to take into account the movement in before. If the common people have the spirit of progression, are confident that they can get rich, and act with the firm intention of enriching themselves, it is not possible that anything can keep them poor. Individuals can enter the path certain at any time and under any what government and get rich. And when a sufficiently large number of individuals will do this under any government, they will cause a change of the system capable of opening the way to others. The more people who get richer competitive level, the worse it is for others. The more people who get richer creative level, the better it is for others. The economic regeneration of the masses can only be achieved by ensuring that a large number of people practice scientific method presented in this book and become rich. These will show the path to others and will inspire them with the desire of a real life, with the assurance that we can access it and the intention to access it. For now, however, it is enough to know that neither the government under which you live nor the capitalist system or competitive cannot prevent you from to become rich. When you enter the creative level of thinking, you will rise above these things and become the citizen of another state. But remember that your thinking must be maintained creative level. You must not never for a moment abandon yourself to consider the reserves as limited or act at the moral level of the competition. Every time you fall back into the old ways of thinking, straighten up immediately, because when you enter in the competitive mind, you lose the cooperation of the supreme mind. Don't waste a minute wondering how you will handle emergencies that may arise in the future, except put in place the necessary rules that can affect your current actions. What matters to you, is getting the job done today in a completely successful, and not worry about imperatives who could show up tomorrow. You there will work when they show up. Don't worry about how you will overcome distant obstacles that can threaten your business, unless you did not see clearly that you must change something today for a void. No matter the apparent enormity of an obstacle more or less distant, you will discover, if you advance on the path certain, that it will disappear as you approach it, or a crossing will appear above, below, at, across, or around. There is no combination of circumstances which can overwhelm a man or a woman who is working to become rich next a strictly scientific path. None man or woman who follows these rules cannot fail to enrich oneself, in the same way as a no one who multiplies 2 by 2 can fail to find 4. Do not give anxious thought to possibilities of disasters, obstacles, panics, or unfavorable combinations of circumstances. There is always enough time to do faced with these events as they arise present to you, and you will discover that every difficulty brings with it ways to overcome it. Control your speech. Never speak about yourself, your stuff, or what whether else in a discouraged manner or discouraging. Never admit the possibility of failure, nor speak in a manner that implies possibility of failure. Never say, "Times are tough," or that the economic situation is uncertain. Times may be tough and uncertain situation for those who live competitively, but that cannot never be the case for you. You can create what you want, and you are on top of fear. When others are going through difficult times and make bad deals, you will come across your greatest opportunities. Practice thinking about the world and look like something in the making, which grows, and to look at the apparent evil like something underdeveloped. Always talk in terms of progression. To act otherwise is to deny your trust, and to deny your confidence is to lose it. Never allow yourself to be disappointed. You can hope to get a certain thing from a certain time and not getting it at that moment, and this may seem like a failure to you. But if you maintain your confidence, you will discover that the failure is only apparent. Continue on the certain path and, if you do not receive what you expected, you will receive something so much better that you will understand that the apparent failure was preparing for a great success. A student of this science had decided to set up a transaction structure which seemed to him, at the time, very attractive, and he worked for several weeks to get it started. When the decisive day came, the whole disintegrated in a way absolutely inexplicable. It was as if some hidden influence had worked secretly against him, but he was not disappointed. On the contrary, he thanked God for having neutralized his project and did not cease to be grateful. A few weeks later, such a better opportunity than he would have makes the first deal under any circumstances. He then saw that a spirit who knew more than him had prevented him from committing irremediably in the worst case, which would have made him lose a better affair. This is how an apparent failure will work for you too, provided that you maintain your confidence, that you cling to your intention, that you express your gratitude, and that you do, every day, everything that can be done that day, doing every single thing in a successful manner. When you fail, it's because you didn't ask enough. Persevere, and he is certain that something greater, that what you were waiting for, will happen to you. Remember it. You will not fail because of a lack of the talent necessary to achieve what you want to accomplish. If you do, as I indicated, you will develop all the talent required to perform your job. It does not fit within the scope of this work to talk about the science of cultivating a talent, but it is as assured and simple as the process of becoming rich. However, when you arrive somewhere, leave.